You know what I like about Temple? They always know who their best player is. Shizz Alston gets as many touches as they can possibly give him, and that's why.
The tough shot over Udeze, and they're within 7. 3 on the shot clock.
Wow.
Alston forces it.
Go! Holy Toledo! Shizz Alston, shot clock running down.
Just like this.
A whole bunch of South Florida turnovers. This the pick, and Alston rises for the slam.
Now they're
Good for you.
I am from New York.
You're never working a Temple game again. There's a 3 for Alston.
I still like...
Guarding on the ball right now is Shizz Alston.
Alston out of the timeout, the long-range three-point shot. The #1 scorer in the American, over 19 a game, puts Temple up. Alston for 3. Got it!
On Alston. Right over one of the tallest players of the Georgia team, and Alston is feeling it with 20 points tonight.
Huge threes and a personal 8-0 run to get him right back in the ballgame.
Alston answering with a triple of his own.
As we said, they're just...
Alston in his career at Temple. 3 to shoot. Alston for 3. And drains it for the Owls. That will take us to the break. Shizz Alston Jr., the senior, with a big moment at halftime.
Oh, that's a memorable way to get your 1,000th point.
Welcome back to the 5 Features Podcast. I'm Joe Panicelli, and today we got a really special guest. He's first team All-American Conference, all Big 5 honors, led the AAC in the Big 5 in scoring. One of the highest single-season scorers in Temple history, and he now plays professional ball overseas in the BNXT League. Shizz Alston Jr. Shizz, how you doing, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
No problem, man. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So I want to start sort of, growing up in Philadelphia, there's so many great players in the Big 5 history and also sort of around the league, the NCAA who came from the city. What is it about, maybe those pickup games in Philly or just sort of the atmosphere there and those communities that makes, such talented players and, has so much success in that city?
Just our competitive nature. We all want to be the best in the city because usually the best in the city goes on to play professionally. So we're all fighting for that top 5 spots in the city, just because we know we have a better chance of reaching our dreams if you're the top guy coming out of a good city like Philly. Yeah,
definitely. And I've seen something that you've talked about a lot recently, and something that when you were sort of younger growing up was the hood-enriched athletics. Talk about that from when you were younger and getting involved in that and what that meant for you, and then after that, sort of maybe go into how you've given back to that program that's helped you out, and you've been a real mentor in that area.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I started playing with hood enriched when I was about 5, and the older guys on the teams, our older age groups were guys like Deontay Christmas and Malik Wayne. So those are 2 also Big 5 legends right there. So from an early age, I was looking up to those guys and wanting to be where they went. They went on to go to Villanova and Temple. So I always seen that since I was young and wanted to emulate things like that. So I started playing there all the way up until I was about 17. Played with them, and I also played with Team Final for AAU. And, we just went around different recreation centers in Philadelphia and just played against guys and all over the city. So it was real big for me because you just got to see different faces and play against different guys from different parts of the city, which is always good.
Yeah.
And then recently when I got out of school, when I started playing pro, I wanted to give back just how guys gave back to me. So I started funding the program, got them book bags and jerseys, sponsored a couple trips. And then last year we had my first annual Shizz Alston and Hood Enriched basketball camp last summer. So we're just trying to give back and just trying to give these guys opportunities and people to look up to.
And yeah, so what if, right, it's basketball obviously first, and then it's also sort of like an educational based program, right?
Yeah, so we have tutoring. We're looking to partner with Temple and have their education majors come tutor our kids on Saturdays. So we have tutoring every Saturday during the school year. And then at the end of each semester or whatever they have, we see the report cards. And if you have a good average, then it's optional for you to come back the next semester. But if you don't meet those requirements, then you have to proceed to the tutoring for the next semester of classes. So we make it very educational based. And so we show these kids early that without your education, you can't play basketball. So if you're ineligible, you can't play.
Yep.
So we just kind of make it so that these guys know that, listen, if you don't want to come to tutoring every Saturday, then get good grades. So we make it, we make it fun for them, but we also start earlier the importance of education.
Definitely, man, and that's awesome. And then another sort of obvious mentor in your life was your dad. Levon Austin, great player at Temple, and sort of had a very similar career that you did. I know I'm sure you talk about this all the time because the connection is obviously so obvious there of how you guys both were great players at Temple and have a similar career path. But you just talk about sort of what you learned from him and how to be a professional in this league, and take some advice off the court and on the court from what he's instilled.
Just hard work. That's the biggest thing I got from him. He always was in the gym, always working out. So I got the that gym rat mentality, always wanted to get better from him. And then also just take care of the important things, not party too much, not go out with friends all the time, but handle your business first, and everything else would take care of itself. So that's what I try to do in college, man. I had a college life, but I also put basketball first, and stayed in the gym, stayed watching film. So those are things that he taught me.
Definitely. And you mentioned sort of, being in the gym, being a gym rat, and a lot of things people don't want to work on is free throws. And when I look at your career, man, it's unbelievable, like some of the stuff you've done on that side of the game. And is that like a mental thing? Or is that just so many damn reps that you just, because you smashed the record at Temple for a free throw,
Yeah.
what's that? Is that a mental thing? Is that something that you really work on all the time, or?
Yeah, it's kind of a mental thing, but also so we all like to score, right? Everybody likes to score. And I remember after my sophomore year, I think I averaged about 14 points. And my dad came to me and we're looking at my average, and he's like, if you go to the free throw line about 5 or 6 more times, that's easily averaging 20.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow. So like if I just get to the free throw line and make all my free throws, you can go from averaging 14 to 20 just off free throws.
Yeah.
So like so when he told me that, I was just focusing, man. It's like every time I got a chance to get free shots, I'm like, you got to make these. So like when I work out, like I can't go to the next drill without making 10 in a row all net. So just little things like that, just competing against myself when I'm off the court, just helps me. It helps me on the court. But I tell kids all the time, like, I know you all want to score, and free throws are sometimes the easiest way to get free points. So you got to count your pennies.
They're not flashy, but they get the job done.
Yeah.
They're important. And you see a lot of times these late games, like that's what these college games really come down to, is who's going to make their free throws.
No, really, yeah. And in my senior year, man, we went to the tournament, but it was like 5 or 6 games that came down to like one possession. Like if we had missed a free throw or anything like that, we could have lost. So that's the difference between, winning and losing, and going to the tournament and not going to the tournament. So things like that.
Definitely. When coming out of high school, you're ESPN top 100 rated player, and you're also the Pennsylvania Gatorade Player of the Year. First of all, can I get your top 3 Gatorade flavors?
I like the light blue one.
All right.
The orange. And then you got to go with the red. The red.
Okay, the classics. The classics.
Classic.
All right, awesome. And obviously you had some major interests at that time.
Yeah.
A lot of different offers from big schools. A lot of the things we're seeing now is we're seeing not as many kids from the city sort of commit to these the Big Five schools. So what was it that sort of drawing you to Temple, other than your dad's involvement there? What was it really that stood out to you as that was the right place for you?
The 2 biggest factors was Fran Dunphy and Aaron McKie. Like those 2 guys were the biggest reasons, were the 2 most important reasons why I came to Temple. Besides the fact that my dad played there, was So I was when I was a junior at Haverford, Aaron McKie stopped working for the Sixers, and he was just around the city just doing his own thing, and he had started to come up to Haverford every morning and work me out along with guys like Cam Reddish and Lamar Stevens. So we used to work out every morning, man, from 7 a.m. before school. And then as those guys went on and things, I stayed working with them to my junior and senior year. And he was just thinking, he's like, man, like, what you thinking about college? And I'm like, man, I don't know. I got a lot of schools, but I always loved Temple, but I got a lot of these schools. And he was like, so if I took the job at Temple, would you come with me?
Wow.
And I'm like, man, if I got the job. So when I first started working out with him, I wasn't top 100. After the summer working out with him, I became top 100. So I'm like, man, yeah, if we can get this every day, like, yeah, of course I'll go with you.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, Coach Dunph, so I'm thinking about going up there and interviewing, taking a job. So from there, man, I was like, man, I'm going. So and then Coach Dunph, he's a Hall of Fame coach. So
Yeah.
I was already interested just because of him as well. But with Aaron McKie and him together, I was like, man, I can't turn this down.
Absolutely. And at what point do you think, obviously you knew you were always probably a little bit better than some of the guys you're playing with, but you kind of just mentioned right there that season was sort of the season that, you realized that you became a top 100 guy and you realized that, you were competing at a high level. Was there a moment that sort of clicked for you as like, man, I could, I could go Division I. I could really sort of make something out of this?
The goal just was always Division 1, man, just because of my father, just because like it was always, man, I want to be better than him. So like that was the first step. But when I knew that I was like, legit had a nice shot was my sophomore year in high school when I won MVP of the league as a sophomore. I think I was first team all state, something like that. And I seen the little Daily News Inquirer articles come out, and I was on the pages with like Rashid Jordan and Brandon Austin, guys that Rondé Jefferson.
Yeah.
So those guys I looked up to, and I was like, man, these are the guys. So when I see my face next to them guys on like first team all state and things like that, I was like, oh yeah, like I got a shot at this. So after my sophomore year, I was pretty confident.
So yeah, so you get to Temple. Your first year, you're not getting as many minutes. So I think you averaged about 2 points a game, obviously based off less playing, and then you made a huge jump your sophomore year to get, like you said earlier, about 14 points a game.
Yeah.
Getting a lot more playing time. Besides, was that more of a thing where you're still kind of catching your foot of sort of the speed of the game? Was it just, what was the upgrades that you made in that first season at college that really like transformed you to like a major impact player like right away, kind of?
Just what you said. Say that again. Sorry.
So basically, obviously you got a little bit more minutes. You got a lot more minutes the second year, your sophomore year at Temple. Like, what were some things that went into you sort of like kind of becoming more of an impact guy that second year at Temple?
Oh yeah, just man, the first year was just tough, man. Just being from the city and not playing, like being a highly rated guy from the city and not playing was tough for me. Just people were like, man, I told you you should have went out, left the city and things like that. So mainly my sophomore year, I just wanted to prove everybody wrong, man. It was like a big chip on my shoulder, like, man, I see a lot of these kids leaving when things get tough. But I was just wanted to show people like, listen, man, I could do this in my city with all the pressure. Like, I could really be special. And so I just worked out. I had a trainer named Pooh Evans. He was Tyreek Evans' brother.
Yeah.
So I worked out with him in the summertime of that year. And I was just really getting it in. I just wanted to show Coach Dump that like, man, like I could take this team over as a sophomore. And that was my ultimate goal, just showing him that I was ready for the moment. And then we had a lot of seniors graduate, so it was easier for me just to fall right into place.
Yeah. I mean, looking back at some of the guys you played against and played with in high school, specifically in the AAU circuit, these are some top level guys that are going as high as you, if not like the same level as you in sort of the Division I. So like how that probably, did that help you out? Like as far as, some guys maybe playing less competition to get there, and then you're kind of like a big fish in a small pond type thing. And it seemed like you really, had great battles against some really great Philly players and probably traveled all over the country playing some of the top guys. So did you feel prepared when you stepped in at Temple or just waiting for your moment kind of?
Yeah, definitely, man. Playing AAU with team final, like you said, we had like my two, Malachi Richardson and Dante DiVincenzo were in the backcourt with me, and they both went first round draft picks. So like, then we also had Lamar Fresh Kimball who went to St. Joe's, and Trey Lowe who came in with me at Temple. So we had a lot of guys, man. Practices were very intense, and then we also practiced against the older age groups with that had Jaquan Newton and Gardner and then those type of guys. So like those battles with team final practices, it really prepared me to battle in college.
Yeah, and you mentioned sort of Fran Dunphy earlier. What can you say about his leadership qualities and the type of guy he's an iconic figure in this Big Five tradition. So what can you say about him and as a coach or as a person in the space?
Yeah, coach, man, coach, man, he's a special guy. He makes you he teaches you lessons while you're at Temple. Like he doesn't make anything easy. Like I said, I didn't play my first year, and maybe if I'd have played, I wouldn't have had the qualities that I have now, just persevering through different things and not giving up when things get tough. So, coach prepares you for life, and then coach also, man, like everything you do, he does, like or he has done in his lifetime. He doesn't make his players do anything that he hasn't done before or that he wouldn't do. Like he does push-ups with us, he lifts weights with us, like he's up early in the morning with us. So like everything that we do, he does. So
Grant
so
Dunphy's
he's a
doing
special.
push-ups.
Yeah, at his old age. At his old age, he's still doing
What a
push-ups.
legend. That's
Yeah, but
awesome.
Coach is a Hall of Fame guy, man. And when it comes to like on-court adjustments, there's nobody better than that. Like he'll take the first half to the second half and adjustments. He's spot on with everything.
Awesome. And then, this is a question I've been asking, as I've been doing this, talking to players from different, Big Five teams. As a Philly guy specifically, and, as part of a Temple player, did you get a little bit more amped up to play these Philly Big Five games in front of your friends, family, and, show that Temple's the best in the city and stuff like that in nature? Did that kind of amp you up a little bit more, those type of games?
Of course, man. Just because I've witnessed all those battles my whole life. Like those games were, was always good. And then I had a lot of my friends play for city schools when I was when I was playing. Like I said, Lamar Fresh Kimball played at St. Joe's. I had BJ Johnson. I had BJ Johnson at LaSalle, Mikael Bridges and Dante and Jalen Brunson at Villanova. So I knew a lot of these guys for a long time. So it was it was great battles. And we also played against each other in the summer sometimes. So it was like I know your game, you know my game, but we're gonna see who the best man wins. So
Yeah.
I never got to beat Villanova, but it was some good battles.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that because you guys had some great Temple teams in your span there, but the sort of the run that Villanova had is almost historic to this whole Big Five thing. It's really like unbelievable to think about what they've done in that year. So that
Yeah.
game I'm sure that was marked on your calendar every year too.
Yeah, like I tell everybody, 2 of my 4 years playing at Temple, they won a national championship.
Yeah.
And in 3 years I played them, they were number one in the country. So
Yeah.
it's like it's like a different. Had some good teams, but they had some great teams. So
Yeah.
it was different. But that's just a testament to Jay Wright over there, just recruiting the right guys and having a good philosophy in place for them. But it was always fun playing against that type of competition. But like, yeah, they were different level when it came to those couple 3 years, 4 year run.
What was your favorite place to play in the city?
The Palestra by far. Playing there, man, we played against Penn there, played against LaSalle there. So like playing there was definitely, and they always showed love to Coach Dump, so it was always packed because he was coming back. So the Palestra was my favorite place to play.
Yeah, what is it about that place? Because obviously everyone talks about it being this great historical place in the Coliseum and whatnot, and I think a lot of people have the same answer as you. What do you think is so special about the Palestra? Is it the tradition, the history?
Just the history, man. Like just when you walk in, when you play, when you like on the court, everything like it's like walking into a medieval castle. Like everything's old. The court's new, but everything around is old. They have those old hard bleachers and everything. So it's like
Yeah.
it just feels so authentic, So just being there, you feel the history while you're playing. And then also like when it's packed, it gets loud and it gets hot. So
Yeah.
like you feel like all the fans and you feel everybody on your neck when you're playing. So just that place is special.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hagan Arena, and also most of the Big Five is that those small sort of more intimate
Right.
places that where when the fans are wild and it's a great game, there's not much places like it.
Exactly.
And what's it like now? I don't want me to skip forward too much, but how would you describe sort of you're on this European tour? You played in Greece, and now you're playing in New Zealand and Netherlands, and Netherlands. What's the atmosphere like? How could you compare it to an NCAA game or an NBA game? Because I know there's some pretty rowdy fans over there, and it might be a little bit.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, like you said, I played in Greece. Well, I played in G League with the Sixers my first year.
Yep.
Then I played in Greece. Last year I played in Belgium, and now I'm actually going to Japan.
Oh,
So
nice.
so it's different, man. It's, like you said, the fans are. It's different because it's not students, it's adults. So it's like it's grown people, and they just like they love their sports, and it's like histories. Like so, most of the teams are clubs, so they have like U19, U18, 10, U10. So it's a lot of different families together, and then some of these teams have soccer as well. So it's like rich traditions of generations of fans whose grandparents were fans and things like that. So they really take it seriously, and it's very loud. They're
Like
allowed
banging.
to have they're allowed to have drums and blow horns and all the things. Like in Greece, they have fire in the crowds, like they can spark fire, fireworks. So it's not many. It's like no rules to this stuff over
Yeah,
there.
it's madness.
Yeah, it's madness. There's no rules, but it's intense. It's fun. It makes you want to go harder, and it's like it's funny how a sport can bring people who speak different languages, but we all come together for a common goal. So, it's nice playing over there.
Yeah, would you say you get recognized or asked for pictures more when you're at Temple, or like when you're in these other countries where that they have these rabid fans everywhere and they
Yeah.
live?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'll say when I'm overseas, I get asked for pictures more just because I stand out everywhere I go.
Yeah,
Temple is mainly just at Temple if I'm at a basketball game, but
yeah,
it's like and overseas is like all over the city. Like you go to the gas station, you go anywhere, people recognize you because there's not many people that look like you over there, so
yeah,
they can easily identify you.
yeah. So going back to Temple and before we get some Blue Coat stuff. You guys had, I think, 2 trips to the NCAA tournament. Your first year was the freshman year.
Mhm.
Buzzer beater heartbreak against Iowa, correct? The fourth overtime,
Yeah.
like last minute shot. What was the team morale like, and what was that experience like? And
Man, it was tough because if we'd have won that game, we'd have played Villanova next, and that's the year that Villanova
wow,
won the the championship. So we all felt that, man, like we were going to get a good shot at Nova. Like we knew them well. They beat us once, and we felt like we would beat them on a neutral court.
wow, I didn't know
So
that.
we were kind of hurt because we had that game won, man. We thought we had it won, and um, the last second tip in just hurt. But we were real hurt about that one, just because we were all looking forward to playing Nova that next round at the Barclays Center, which would have been a
Crazy.
crazy event. Like it would have been Temple versus Nova at the Barclays Center. The tournament would have been hectic, and like everybody knows, anything can happen once you get in the tournament. So,
Yeah,
so we were all looking forward to that. So that loss really hurt.
definitely. And obviously the next year you guys went was what, 2019? Was that your senior year?
19, yeah.
What was that? What was that experience like? That in your
Uh,
last chance, sort of, in the college scene.
yeah, it was. That was also a tough one for us, man, because we felt like we got a bad draw because we were 23 or 24-10, so we felt that we should have been a higher seed. And then we also felt like we should have been playing a team like Belmont, who had like 3 losses. They were they were a pretty good team that year. So it was tough though. But Dayton, we played in Dayton. That was a great environment. A lot of people were there, packed arena. We were the only game on TV that night. We had Reggie Miller doing the game, Kevin Harlan. So it was a spectacular game. It was good. It hurt that we lost, but it was just fun to my goal was to get Coach Dunphy back to the tournament, and we did that. It'd have been perfect. We won a couple games, but just for him to get there again and get some media attention, nationwide was good for me.
Definitely. Yeah, I was watching a clip of you when you were at the Bluecoats, and someone asked you like, "What's it like to play for your hometown city?" And you're like, "It's not my city, but because they were in Delaware, obviously." But obviously, the Sixers, a G League affiliate.
Yeah.
I actually was an intern with the Bluecoats doing some comm stuff over there, and I was wondering to get your thoughts on the way sort of that league works. And it seems a lot of times, there's some unbelievable players there that are just really waiting to get their shot. And it also seems that one night could be a guy's night and just, he can go off for 30, 40. Then how do you feel it is as far as like a team game in that sense, whereas a lot of those guys are really trying to put up their numbers to get to that next
Yeah.
level? How does that
I
really?
mean, that's a tough league, man. Like Mill Jefferson told me this a couple years, like a year before I went in there. He's like, that's the only league in the world where everybody's trying to get out. So like, from the players to the coaches to the officials, like everybody wants to take that next step. So although it's a little bit of team, everybody has a different agenda. Like if you win the G League championship, okay, but that's not going to get you anything. Everybody would much rather, get to that next level. So it's a little bit of I don't want to, don't take it the wrong way, but a little selfishness with it.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to, like you said, somebody go for 40 and then the next night they get 5 shots. And is that because they played bad or is it because the next guy wants to get his number? So you never know. And then it's a lot of politics involved in it. So,
Yep.
It's a good opportunity if you're in the right situation. But if you're not in a good situation, man, it's tough to be there.
Yeah, now you're in a situation where, like you said, you've been almost all over the world playing basketball. And
Yeah.
were you a guy who liked to travel really before that, or was that between college and now obviously internationally, you're all over the
Yeah,
world?
man. It was different for me. It was different for me, man, because like high school, I stayed in the area. College, I stayed in the area. Even my first year out, and like you said, in Delaware, it's 45 minutes away. So
Yeah,
I'd never been out of the city for more than 10 days, ever. So the next year when I had to go to Greece, it was like, man, this is the like the first time I'm away from the city. It's not like I'm going to New York. I'm going to
yeah.
Greece.
You're going to Greece.
Yeah, so it's different. I wasn't a guy that likes to do that, but it's good, man, because my family can come over and see new places. I could bring my girlfriend over, and she can see new places and things like that. So it's good, man, for the people around you. You get to experience different cultures. Like last year, I lived like an hour away from the Eiffel Tower, so I got to go to Paris and
Oh,
see things
sweet.
like that on a regular basis. So just little things like that, I try not to take for granted.
Let's talk food here. Who's got the best food out there? You like the Greek food?
Ooh, the best food. I would say Greece. I would say Greece. Greece has the best, like the way they make their
Olive oil and stuff.
yeah, it's very tasty out there. But Paris, they got the croissants, so there's no better croissants than Paris.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's a really cool experience. I mean, I hate flying, but you're also obviously going to Japan next. You a
Yeah.
sushi guy?
Yeah, I'm a sushi guy. I like sushi. I just started eating it. So
Yeah.
so I signed on Thanksgiving. So I've been trying to, I've been home for about a month, so I've been trying to eat sushi regularly just to prepare myself
You get
for this
ready.
for Japan.
Definitely, man. And so you sort of got into it earlier about some of the unique cultures you've experienced and some of all the different places that you visited and you uh, sort of been a part of as part of a professional player playing overseas. And what are some of the challenges as far as like translators go and getting sort of entrenched in that culture when you get to a new place?
Just like you said, like well, off the court, it's just like finding your spots, the food you like, because people cook their foods differently. So just takes you a couple months to find the food you like. Then also just places to do, so you don't just go from basketball to your house every day and just do that. Trying to find different hobbies. And then on the court, it's just adjusting to the style that the coaches have. They look at basketball a little different than we look at it sometimes. So
Yeah.
you just got to try to adjust to their philosophies. Things that you're accustomed to doing, they might not like or might not be accustomed to doing. So it's just a big adjustment with that. And then your teammates. You sometimes you have teammates from different countries, from different states. So
Mhm.
just all coming together and finding the right balance and chemistry with that takes a little bit of time. But besides that, man, like I said earlier, it's funny how one game can just people who speak languages, we all come together for a common goal. We all want to win. Because
Yeah.
over there, winning is what makes you the most money. If we're talking like financially, like over in
Yeah.
America, man, it's like stats. But there is like winning. When you go to the championship, the next year you'll have a higher salary. So we all want to just win. We all just want to win as much as we can so we can just keep moving up.
Definitely. And you're a guy who's a high profile guy in the city, Temple guy,
Yeah.
had success professionally and you got a long career ahead of you, but eventually could you see yourself in a position where you're somehow involved with Temple again?
Yeah, man. I would love that. That's one of my goals is to go back and coach at Temple. Um, Hopefully, I think it's going to be under, Aaron McKie. If I have anything to do with it, I hope it's under Aaron McKie. I hope he's there for the next 10, 15 years. Um, it's funny that Coach Dunphy got the job at LaSalle because that was also a dream to coach with Coach Dunphy. But it was a
Yeah.
little too early in my career to stop doing that. But yeah, that's my goal, man. I want to make it how it used to be, man. I'm trying to get these Philly guys to stay home, and that's something that I want to do. I want to retire and then just try to get as many guys to go to these Big Five schools. Or hopefully, I'm at Temple to go to Temple as possible because I think it's best for our guys to stay home. It's the love, the support, and I tell people all the time the things after basketball, like the connections I made with alumni and people in the city, will help me after basketball just because I stayed in the city to play. So just want to show these kids that it's bigger than just these blue blood schools, man. Like it's deeper than that. Like you want to prepare yourself for 40 years instead of 4 years.
Yeah, and it's definitely something that I've looked into is talking to some people is, there's seems to be a little maybe less interest than there used to be in the Big Five matchups. And a lot of it has to do with, the way Villanova sort of dominated, but a lot of it has to do with the teams not performing well and stuff. And what are your thoughts on how maybe you can kind of grow that back? Is it just getting those homegrown kids to come?
Yeah, man. Like I went to the Temple LaSalle game and I counted like it was like 2 or 3 kids on the court from Philly. I mean, on the rosters, not even on the court, on the rosters.
Yeah.
So it's just different. Like the people in the city don't have people to come. You used to go see your favorite high school stars play in college, but now it's not that. It's the kids from Jersey, from DC, from all over these other places. So it's not as people don't have a good reason to come out. So I feel like even though Villanova has dominated, over the course of the last couple of years, if we had other guys from Philly playing, it would be big for these guys to come out and watch. Because I know even when I played against LaSalle or St. Joe's or Penn, a lot of people came out just because I was a Philly guy.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see me play, So I think that'll make the Big Five, what it used to be if we get more kids to stay home. And quite frankly, these guys want to come home, transfer home anyway. So why not just start off here? And like I said, I watched the games, and our Big Five games are on ESPN, just how North Carolina and Duke games are on ESPN. So it's no reason not to, want to be a part of it. So
Definitely.
I just hope that I could, hopefully, when I'm done playing, I can get these guys to realize that.
Definitely, man. Well, Shizz, thanks a lot, man. You're the man. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about, your journey and your perspective on the Big Five and everything going on with Temple and all that.
No, man, I appreciate you having me. And this is a cool little thing that you got going on here, man. I hope you continue to talk. I'm looking forward to hear a lot of greats, on this podcast and talking
Thanks, man.
about their experiences.